Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 272 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. My guest this week is Raine Maida, the lead singer and, well, as I found out, manager of Our Lady Peace. The band is currently out on the road with Live and Collective Soul on the Summer Unity Tour celebrating Our Lady Peace's 30th anniversary. They also have released the song Whatever Redux, a redone version of their more than 20-year-old song, and the proceeds from the new version are being donated to mental health and suicide prevention causes. I talked to Raine about why they redid the song Whatever. We also talked about the summer tour with Collective Soul and Live and what it's like to celebrate a band's 30th anniversary. We talked about Ozzy and Woodstock 99 and what the band has planned for 2026. I was so happy that Raine accepted my invitation to come on the show, so allow me to introduce you to Raine Maida from Our Lady Peace. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's good to see you. By the decor, it looks like you're in a hotel.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
I'm in a hotel. I'm in Denver we're in Denver on tour with Live and Collective Soul on Summer Unity Tour. So I am in a bit of a day room at some Marriott.
I literally just flew back from Denver yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, moving my stepdaughter into college.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
Yeah, big step.
Boulder?
No, Fort Collins.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, it's
Very
beautiful out there, but the artwork, very generic in the hotel.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm embarrassed.
This big Collective Soul Live Our Lady Peace tour, it was in the Northeast not too long ago. And it's got all of the bands, because I've talked to all of them, in this whole kind of sentimental anniversary celebrating thing. Are you having a hard time wrapping your brain around the idea that the band is 30 years old?
Yeah, I am, honestly. Like I've never been one to kind of look back, or like I'm not so nostalgic, but I think there is a bit of a celebration. Like I think the fans feel it, and like you said, I think both Eds in each band, like they're doing a great job at just honoring the legacy. Like, huge songs and careers, and 30 years is like that's not easy for a lot of bands.
I don't think anybody goes into a music career, and obviously I'm not a musician, so I'll defer to you as the expert, imagining that your career will last that long.
I mean, 10 years would have felt like a long time if you asked me when we started. So to be here today it's almost miraculous, to be honest.
And you see artists like the Stones and the Who, and
I know,
even up until the very end with Ozzy. It's a testament to the fans, right? That bands are able to have this longevity of career, their passion, how much they love the music.
Yeah, it's the fans for sure, but also, Carrie, I think it's like that's the beauty of music. Like that's why it's such a blessing to be an artist, because it's not a job. Do you know what I mean? Like if sometimes like the traveling or being in these types of hotels for a few hours during the day, that wears on you, but being able to get up there on stage and play your music, I mean, there's just nothing like it. It's incredible. It's such a gift. And so that's why I think people, as artists, you're just like, well, even when you think about, okay, we've done it for this long, so we should probably stop. It's like, why would you stop? It's a part of you, it's just an extension of our beings as artists. So I don't think you stop. I think you kind of go out like Ozzy almost. It's pretty beautiful when you think about it.
Do you have an Ozzy or Sabbath memory from your upbringing? I think it's impossible for anyone in rock or metal to not be influenced by Ozzy or Sabbath in some way.
I just remember, definitely a Sabbath fan, but I remember playing a big festival. It's probably like 20 years ago now. And I think, Ozzy was probably the headliner, but I remember seeing Sharon backstage. And I was just like, oh man, this shit is a business. She was serious, you know what I mean? And it was kind of like, it was a good wake up call back there. It was like, there's music, but it is a business as well. And that was like what a perfect fit for Ozzy. You could tell with her, she was running it, man. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, talk about a perfectly matched partnership. He was all the creative and she was all the business. Because every band I've talked to that played those festivals, that was on the Ozfest, was like, you did not cross Sharon.
Never. No, I mean, we opened for the Ramones early on in our career in New York and in Jersey. And I remember seeing the band yelling at their manager about some shit. And I was just like, it was like my first thing of like, oh, music isn't just fun. You just get to play and then you get in the van, you drive. Like this was very early. I was like, okay, this is serious. Like you have to treat it like a business. And you're right. Sharon was like the ultimate businesswoman.
Well, the roads are paved in entertainment, especially early on, those like Motown acts. They just all got ripped off by management.
Ripped off. Yeah, exactly.
None of them got any money.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Got to wear both hats these days.
Yeah. And there are artists that are notorious being on the radio side where you get told by the label, like, by the way, this band watches the numbers. Like this band knows they know if you're playing their music. They know how many tickets they sold in your town. Like these. Yeah. And I don't think the bands, especially like back in the 80s, the bands didn't care about that stuff.
No. The smart ones, you have to be, like I said, you got to be, sometimes you don't want to wear too many hats, but you got to know what's going on. At least enough to where you have a certain understanding. So when you get on stage, you can just be an artist. Because if you're too much the other way, then it takes away from the art. And that happens to some bands too.
As someone that's not an artist, and for someone like you that's been doing it 30 years now, to me, being, whether it's a painter, a writer, a songwriter, the biggest fear for me would be the blank page. Has that hurdle gotten any easier, or has it gotten harder to start the process of writing new songs this far in?
I'm always writing. I think that's why I do. I think that's why we do this, to be honest. I think it's always the idea of what's next. And we've never been like one of those kind of rinse and repeat bands, maybe to a fault, where it's like you have a big record that sells, a couple million. We should just go do something close to that. But the next step, instead we do something totally left and make like a concept record like we did with Ray Kurzweil with Spiritual Machines. And so I think that, but for the long run of the band, that's what keeps it fresh. It's like, we don't know what we're going to do next. And it's an experiment. I think when it stops being an experiment, you're in trouble as an artist.
I'm fascinated by the process because I can't do it. So how does it start for you? Is it a lyric? Is it a melody? Is it a riff?
I think it's about being open, like having that creative channel being open. That's where it starts. Because once that's open, then it can be anything. Literally could be, like you said, it could be a riff. It could be something I'm humming, or like we wrote a song on our last record called Stop Making Stupid People Famous.
Which, by the way, when I saw that title, I was like, yes.
I know, but I saw that like 5 years ago on the streets of LA on a mailbox from this artist, an LA-based artist. He had a stencil and he's writing on a mailbox. And I was like, that lyric will end up in the song. I don't know where I have to find the right place for it, but I think that's like, you have to wake up creatively open. And that's what I try to do every day. And sometimes, just grab a coffee and acoustic guitar and you strum along for a couple hours and nothing comes out, but that's okay. Cause that's part of the process.
I look at the idea of creating music and sitting down with your best friends and writing and pouring all of your heart and soul and emotions into things. And then there's that trust fall of giving it to us.
Yeah.
Has that gotten any easier, or have you gotten really good at blocking out criticism, noise, and you're
Oh yeah, I've never listened to stuff like that. Even from early on. I think you have to find that thick skin to be an artist these days. And I think the idea of if you're truly doing it for yourself and you like it, just a little bit of faith that some other people are going to like it too. Because you're not that crazy, or we're not that avant-garde. We're not writing jazz music. So someone's going to connect with it, and that's fine. If you want to get into like numbers or how well something does, I really don't care. I mean, that's not for me. I think that's not my responsibility. I hand that off to other people, but I just want to walk out of the studio knowing that I'm fulfilled by the song. And sometimes you're not. I mean, there's lots of songs that I look back on where they were forced for some reason, and I'll never play them. I don't want to sing them. I don't really want to have anything to do with them. But the ones that I'm attached to, yeah, those are like having children, and I don't care if anyone's ever heard them. I still sit in my bedroom sometimes and play them in a hotel room. You know, that's the kind of fulfillment you need to be able to extract from your own art.
Are you one of those artists that if an instrument gives you a song, you can't part with it? Like, do you collect the guitars that you write the songs on because they're so sentimental to you now?
Yeah, I have an old like pre-war Martin, so it's from 1923. It's an acoustic guitar. It's not pretty looking, but I've written most of OLP's hit songs and tons of other great songs on that guitar. It smells like an old piece of furniture. It's just comfortable. And it's the first thing I pick up in the morning when I get into their studio at home. And I think it's just like an old friend, you know? And I think that comfort factor is, I don't know, there's something literally, like I said, I can just play that guitar for a couple hours and it's healing and maybe nothing happens. But I know at some point something will happen, especially in that guitar.
Do you still have your first one?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, but I smashed it.
Oh.
And so, but I still have it. I still have it. Yeah.
There are so many guitarists that I've talked to that traded it in to like upgrade, and they wish they kept the first one. I'm so glad you have yours.
Yeah, I know. I guess it isn't kind of in pieces, but I've kept it nonetheless.
Did somebody give it to you? Where did you get it?
I smashed it on stage. I actually was like a cheap acoustic 12-string that I brought, and brought it on our first tour. And one night I just was not happy on stage and smashed it. But my tour manager kept it, and so he gave it to me, and I've kept it somewhere. I was originally born in Toronto. It's in a warehouse in Toronto somewhere.
Do you come from a musical family? Because I'm fascinated by the idea of whether or not it's genetics or environment that musical ability comes from. Because wherever it is, I didn't get it.
Some of the shit's genetic. My wife has perfect pitch. She's an artist, songwriter. She has perfect pitch. My youngest son has perfect pitch. I don't. I didn't come from a musical family, but I do. This is probably pretty weird, but my dad was a huge Elvis fan. So listened to a lot of Elvis, like in the car with him. And then on Sundays, I remember like watching old Elvis movies on, I can't remember what station, like TCM or some shit. But so there was always music. Like I always was humming melodies and stuff. And yeah, it's almost like you didn't know it, but something just through that was channeled through me.
I have a theory about music, and you answered the first half of the question, that you have two musical, like, times of your life. There's the soundtrack to your childhood, which is the stuff that you get exposed to unwillingly. And then in your adolescence, at some point, you discover something, whether it's a band, a song, an album, and you make the decision, this is what I like. And from then on, everything's different. So if Elvis was part of the soundtrack to your life, what else were you growing up listening to? And then what was it that you defined your musical taste with? Who was it?
I wouldn't say it's one person, but there's literally like 3 records that I just had on repeat from like, I remember I was in like ninth and 10th grade, and that was Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska, which like wasn't a big record, but it was this record he did on a 4-track in a hotel, right? Had a color to it. I always thought of music in colors, so that was like this kind of gray red color for me. And then, and I don't have synesthesia, but
I was just going to ask you if you have
I don't.
it.
My son does, who's an artist. So maybe I have like a smaller version of it because I do some music. And then Joshua Tree, which was obviously this kind of like brown sandy color, and then REM's Document like had a a kind of like pale green color, and those records just basically just flipping those CDs. I was just flipping them in and out, and really a lot of it was, and it was a lot of the storytelling with all three of those artists. Telling U2 were telling bigger stories, Springsteen in Nebraska telling these really small town stories, and Michael Stipe from REM just telling kind of weirder but really eclectic and like personal stories as well. And then the music obviously around it. But I always wanted to tell stories. And so when I realized with that music is like, wow, the music has like this kind of like spiritual vibe to it. I grew up Catholic. I don't want to be that anymore. I was fighting religion. This is going to be the way to kind of like combat that and find some sort of balance to it. And so, yeah, they were seminal records for me.
I'm so glad you brought up synesthesia because there are theories that artists like Hendrix had it. So if your son has it, how does it come through with him? Because it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's chords, right? It's like when he hears a chord, it represents a color. So when he writes songs, it's like I and I'm like literally learning this, but I think it's like a painter. So if you're going to do this kind of like abstract painting, my son Rowan will put like in his head a bunch of different hues of like orange, and maybe it goes to red, and maybe there's like a little bit of a cream in there, but that's what he's working with, and all the chords he's working with really have those colors for him. And then if all of a sudden there's a blue, it's like holy shit, it turns into jazz for him. But I don't want to say it's an easier way to see music, but I think there's something really, I don't know, there's something almost calming about having that and being in the ability to see music in colors. So like I said, I don't write like that, but I do see music in a color scope, and that's what's attractive to me. I even with record covers, like what I described to you, like part of the attachments to those were literally the album covers. Like right away, I was just like, oh, I think I'm going to like this. I like that color.
I'm so glad vinyl's back because people are putting so much focus on the artwork on the albums again, which is awesome.
Hallelujah. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the 90s as a decade in music because I feel like it's one of the most prolific decades because it changed. We went through so many different musical moments in the 90s. Like the hair metal started it, then grunge showed up, alternative became huge, then the new metal stuff showed up. What is it about the 90s, because of all these anniversaries being celebrated, what is it about that decade that just gave us so many amazing bands and so many unbelievable albums?
Yeah, my theory is that it was such a great time with like MTV and radio and touring, because when I think about like Our Lady Peace in the 90s, honestly, we were just playing tons of radio festivals, and there were so many, like I got to play festivals with Faith No More, like one of my favorite singers in the world. And then like later on a B stage, it was like Soul Coughing was playing as well. Like almost, jazz, kind of like blues, like spoken word. Those are two of my favorite bands ever. To have them on the same festival doesn't even make sense today. But the idea that it was all this eclectic, different types of music, and everyone was touring and flip-flopping festivals and getting to watch sit side stage for these bands as well and play after them or before them. I think it was so much out there that we were all always inspired as musicians. Like it was just so much. You couldn't help but be inspired. So everyone was trying to make great records. You were trying to put on great shows. And it just made for so many amazing bands, so many amazing, now I can finally look back on it and say, wow, that was, man, we are not there right now, but that was an amazing time.
I went to both Woodstock 94 and 99. And
Yeah.
those lineups were so different that you would get exposed to something that maybe you never would have listened to because of your social circle or whatever, but you left going, that was really cool.
Amazing. We played Woodstock 99. Like, I remember rushing over to go see Patti Smith play. We played right after Willie Nelson. Like, insane. You know, like, yeah. 90s were something.
I didn't know that all of that stuff was happening in 99 because because I went to 94, I was so prepared for 99. And so we went with an RV and we were kind of prepared for whatever craziness was going to happen. And so I didn't know how bad it really had gotten until COVID. And I watched all the documentaries and I went, oh my God, I have been an idiot telling everybody how awesome Woodstock 99 was. I had no idea half that stuff was going on. Did you guys know backstage?
I think it was for a minute. I think it was like the first half of it was amazing. We got there on the Friday night and we were backstage in our bus and we walked out and like Rage was playing. I was like, this is dope. This is amazing. Like, this is crazy. And then the next day I remember like, holy shit, it is really freaking hot out here. And I remember seeing people kind of like searching for water, searching for bathrooms, like what I felt like, okay, someone messed up because it doesn't feel like if it stays this hot, this is going to go well. And it didn't. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was just like a perfect storm of heat, a little bit of corporatism and charging too much for water, not allowing you to bring in your own water, like that kind of stuff. It's like, man, they kind of blew it. And then on that Sunday, things just got out of hand. And we'd left before that because we felt like something was going to go down.
I want to ask you about songwriting. Is there a song that you think is perfectly crafted? It's a craft question. A song you covet and wish you wrote because it's so brilliant. From any artist, any genre, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, there's two. I think Grace by Buckley is like as close to one of the most incredible vocal takes, the arrangement, the playing, the guitar part on it, like the technical abilities, but at the end of the day, it's just beautiful to listen to. Those are the songs that are always blow my mind because there's such technique and such like, you can't just do that. Like, it took Jeff so much work and time to write that song, be able to play it and then sing it the way he does, but you never think of it. Like, I get lost just in the beauty of the music. So great. And the title, I mean, it's just like, yeah, Grace is like one of the most incredible songs ever written and performed.
With everything that's going on in the world now, 30 years ago, talking about how rock and metal would have been leading the conversation about mental health and suicide prevention, I don't think anybody would have believed it. But you guys are in a long list of bands that are openly talking about it, openly encouraging people to get help, raising money and awareness. Does it surprise you that it's the rock and metal people that are the ones that are leading the charge on this?
No, because I think we've all lived it. I think we're all at a certain age where we realize the importance of it. We all probably have kids and just understand it's like, it's tough out there. Like, life is hard. Like, full stop. Life is tough, even more so today. So, the maturity and the evolution of our kind of like psyches and auras enabled in terms of like, wow, not to like, oh, we're trying to do good. It's just like, this is the world we want to live in where, someone will come and say, hey, you know what, I'm having a bad day mentally. Like, no different than like, I hurt my arm or my neck's bugging me or my back. It's like I'm not doing well in my brain today. That's okay to talk about. And I feel like as a community, we talk about that. So putting that kind of like public facing now through music, it seems very natural.
Has it been weird reconnecting with the Redux that you're donating all the proceeds to?
So the way it happened was when we were putting together like this OLP 30 tour, the first one happened in Canada. I just reached out to fans. I was like, hey, this is kind of like an honor of and gratitude for you guys. We want you guys to help pick the set list. So send in, songs you want to hear. And like every fourth DM was like, I know you guys probably won't play it, but it's been like 18 years since I heard whatever. I know why you don't play it. And then a few of them were really thoughtful in the sense of like, hey, again, I know you guys probably won't play whatever on the tour, but just want you to know I suffer from mental health and tried to commit suicide. That song, and if there's any way that could be turned for positive use, like it would mean the world to me. And so it just got us thinking, and I felt like, okay, you know what? Maybe we should take a look at the song. I know it's a cliche, but time does heal. It's been like 18 years since that tragedy happened with Chris Benoit and his family. So we said, okay, for me, it was like, I'm down, but let's re-record it. Let's give it a new life. I want to change some lyrics. And we're going to donate all the proceeds to, suicide hotlines and mental health awareness. And that gave it it felt like, okay, we can do this. And what I've been most surprised about is when I talk about it, kind of like what I just told you before we play it live, like the reaction's amazing by fans. So it's really you're so on point in what you're saying. Like people are just talking about it more. Like we are literally trying to end stigma collectively. And so I'm feeling that from the audience. And so it makes it really kind of like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like we did the right thing, which is amazing.
The rock community has lost so many pillars, people like Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell, that even if you don't know someone personally, you have been affected by it because we've lost so many great artists to it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And I think every family, whether it's your like immediate family or extended family, we all have someone. Like this is not new, obviously, and it's not isolated. So the idea that this is just something like literally everyone's probably broken a bone in their body at some point. Everyone's going to go through some sort of mental health crisis. Let's just make it so it's not just something that we, suffer in silence or hide from, or God forbid gets to a place where we see, guys like Cornell or Bennington having to end their lives like that. It's preventable, right?
You're on the Unity tour with Collective Soul and Live. What is next for Our Lady Peace? What's the next year look like for you guys?
Yeah, so we released those 3 EPs with a new song in each of them, but really those songs are towards a new album. So we're going to get back in the studio, hopefully with Nick Raskulinecz, our guy from Nashville, like Deftones, Foo Fighters. We loved working with him. He actually did the re-record of Whatever as well. So to be able to get back in with him and finish an album is kind of the plan.
We'll put you guys on that ever-growing list of rock bands working in Nashville. It's
crazy, right?
Unbelievable.
I know. No, I kind of dug it though. Like stayed at the Virgin Hotel. We walked to the studio. It was like half a mile away. It was a studio where Neil Young recorded Harvest. It sounded amazing.
Oh,
and these
Sienna
songs.
Studios.
Yeah, Sienna. Yeah.
I know Jay, the manager. He and I are really good friends. Yeah.
Right. So I think it's Marty's place,
Yes.
but he lets Nick use it. And these songs turned out so incredible that it's kind of hard to think to finish the album anywhere else.
I went down in the basement into those tunnels where Neil Young recorded
that's amazing,
those vocals.
right?
It's
I
so
know.
cool.
Yeah, that place is dope. I know.
Before I let you go, because I know you got to run, I got to ask you the Geezer question. So I'll preface it by saying this. Geezer Butler came on the show a while ago. He was talking about his animal advocacy, and he let it slip that he had 13 cats and 5 dogs. When I picked myself up off the floor from the shock of that, I said, well, how do you name them all? Like, how do you keep track of them all? And Geezer Butler told me that he names all his cats and dogs after gangster rappers and proceeded to list all of he knows more about gangster rap than anybody I've ever interviewed. And so from that moment, I have asked every person on the show, do you have pets and where did you get the names? Because I blame Geezer Butler for that.
I mean, that is one of the best stories I've ever heard. And I never thought my respect for Geezer could go up, but holy cow.
He literally, off the top of his head, he's like Missy, Chingy, and he just started listing them all. And I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard. So I call it the Geezer question. Because
I'm embarrassed to even tell. I love animals, even to the point where I can't remember what amphitheater we were at a couple of weeks ago, but there was a family of little kittens and the mom hanging out by the buses and someone's got to take these cats. I've got to take them, And then the other day in Texas, I think in Austin, there was a dog roaming around, no collar, but it was like a beautiful like shepherd. And I was like, this is someone's dog that's lost. We gotta help it. So this whole band are huge animal lovers and advocates. But as far as names, man, I hate to say it, kind of boring. Like I don't know, phonetically, like I always think about when you got to call, we have dogs and we have to call our dogs in our neighborhood. It's got to be something that is easy to say. So I always use vowels like Italian names like Luna and Lola and Stella. Those are kind of like our dogs right now.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And I'm Italian, so I appreciate it. It's like you're calling them in for spaghetti dinner.
It's it. I can do it.
It was so good to see you. Thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
That was amazing. Thank you. I appreciate you.
And enjoy the rest of the tour, and I can't wait to hear the rest of the new album.
Thank you so much, Carrie.
There he is, Raine Maida from Our Lady Peace. You can catch him out on the road with Collective Soul and live on the Summer Unity Tour. You can also check out their new version of Whatever. It's called Whatever Redux in the corresponding playlist for this week's episode. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast that features all of my guest music and all the songs and artists that we referenced in the interview. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, comment, share, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Plus, every weekday, you get the Sit Rep. The Situation Report breaks down all your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in about 5 minutes. And you never know when we're going to release a bonus episode. Join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern on my official Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube for my weekly streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room. Get the details on all of that at mistresscarrie.com. And there's a complete concert listing of all of the shows coming through New England and details on where you can come and hang out with me in September. You can even shop in the online Mistress Carrie store. The Mistress Carrie podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.